A young woman named Zola, from the sun-drenched valleys of South Africa, had journeyed far to pursue her studies in Europe. There, she met Teyo, a kind-hearted and ambitious man from the savannas of West Africa. Though their homelands were separated by vast distances, they discovered a shared love for storytelling, history, and culture. Zola and Teyo became inseparable, spending their days exploring the cobblestone streets of the old city and their nights weaving tales of their respective homelands. They dreamed of one day returning to Africa, carrying with them the knowledge they had gained. After years of study, graduation day arrived, and they celebrated under the stars. Teyo gave Zola a bracelet made of woven strands of colorful beads, each color representing a wish for her future: red for courage, green for growth, blue for peace, and gold for joy. "This thread will always connect us," he said, "but destiny often follows its own course." Shortly after the celebrations, Teyo returned to his homeland, answering the call of family and duty. A month later, Zola discovered she was pregnant. Overwhelmed and uncertain, she tried to reach Teyo, but the connection seemed lost, his letters unanswered, his presence a fading echo. Zola eventually gave birth to a son, naming him Teyo Jr. after his father. As the boy grew, he displayed a striking resemblance to the man Zola had once loved. Yet, life moved on, as it must. Zola met a kind and dependable man named Kofi, who became her husband and raised little Teyo as his own. Together, they built a life filled with love and laughter. But young Teyo always felt a pull, a yearning for something he couldn't name. He was drawn to the stories his mother told him of far-off lands and a man who shared his name. One day, while rummaging through an old chest in the attic, he discovered the bracelet his father had given Zola. The vibrant colors seemed to glow, as though alive with a story waiting to be told. As Teyo held the bracelet, he heard a faint whisper like the rustling of leaves in a gentle breeze. It was the voice of the ancestors, guiding him toward a destiny intertwined with the father he had never known. The bracelet, it seemed, was more than a token, it was a thread that would lead him to the truths of his lineage and the secrets of his father's journey. And so, young Teyo vowed to uncover the story of his father, setting the stage for a quest that would bridge worlds, heal old wounds, and reveal the unbroken thread of connection that binds all souls. Teyo had grown into a brilliant architect whose designs combined modern functionality with subtle nods to African heritage. Raised by his stepfather Kofi, Teyo had known love and stability, yet a quiet yearning for his roots often lingered in the recesses of his mind. Kofi had nurtured him with wisdom and care, teaching him the importance of integrity and the value of storytelling. However, Teyo had always wondered about the man whose name he carried, a phantom presence in the tapestry of his life. One crisp morning, Teyo was summoned to the office of his boss, Mr. Carey, a sharp-eyed man with an air of authority. "Teyo," Mr. Carey began, "I need you to take over a major project in West Africa, a state-of-the-art apartment complex with a shopping center. It's a challenging endeavor, but I believe you're the perfect person for this. You'll need to commit a year or two, but don't worry, we'll provide you with a company car, an apartment, and resources for your research on Nigeria. What do you say?" Teyo's mind was a whirlwind. Though he was excited about the opportunity, the mere mention of Nigeria stirred a storm of questions within him. He knew this was his chance, not just to prove himself professionally but to uncover the mysteries of his lineage. As he left Mr. Carey's office, Teyo's thoughts swirled. What would he find in the land of his father? Would the echoes of his heritage greet him warmly, or would the silence of unanswered questions persist? He resolved to take the assignment, determined to confront the truths that had eluded him for so long. In preparation for his journey, Teyo spent weeks researching Nigeria, immersing himself in its rich history, diverse cultures, and architectural styles. He studied the vibrant marketplaces, the sprawling urban centers, and the lush landscapes. His mother, Zola, watched him with quiet pride and bittersweet concern, sensing that this trip would bring him closer to the father he had never met. Finally, the day came for Teyo to leave. As the plane soared over the horizon, carrying him toward the land of his ancestors, he clutched the bracelet his mother had given him, the thread that had always connected him to his past. Zola stood by the window, watching the plane slowly disappear into the horizon as it carried her son, Teo Jr., to his father's homeland for the very first time. The sight stirred a tempest of emotions within her, pride for the man her son had become, hope for what he might discover, and trepidation for the path ahead. She had always known this moment would come, but its arrival seemed sudden and surreal. As she returned to the quiet of their home, her eyes fell upon an old wooden chest tucked away in the corner of her bedroom. Inside lay a bundle of letters, some yellowed with age, bearing the truths and dreams she had once tried to share with Teo Sr., his father. In each letter, she had poured out her heart, sharing news of their son and the milestones he had reached, his first words, his first steps, his first day of school. But none of the letters had ever been sent. She had tucked them away, uncertain if they would ever find their intended recipient. Now, as Teo Jr. embarked on his own journey, Zola was faced with a choice. Should she give him the letters, allowing him to see the years of longing and love she had carefully documented? Or should she leave the past undisturbed, letting her son create his own narrative without the weight of her memories? For days, Zola wrestled with the decision. She would take the letters out, read through them, and then carefully fold them back into their envelopes. Each word was a fragment of her life, one that Teo Jr. had been too young to know and perhaps too old to revisit. Yet the possibility that these letters could bridge a gap, filling in the shadows of his identity, was impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Teo Jr. had touched down in Nigeria, stepping onto the land of his father for the first time. The air felt warm and alive, carrying a fragrance of red earth and fresh rain. As he stood at the airport, looking out at the vibrant and bustling city beyond, a strange sensation washed over him. It was as if the land itself recognized him, welcoming him back after a long absence. In that moment, Zola's words resonated in his mind, "Your roots run deep, my son. Even if you've never known them, they will always call to you." Nigeria welcomed him with its radiant energy, the bustling streets, the rhythmic music, and the stories etched into every corner of its soul. As Teo immersed himself in his work, he began to feel a connection to the land, as though it had been waiting for him all along. First few weeks in Nigeria were both exhilarating and demanding for Teo Jr. The project consumed most of his days, pulling him into the intricate world of construction plans, timelines, and managing a diverse team. Yet, every night, as he returned to his quiet apartment, the bracelet his mother had given him seemed to beckon. The vibrant colors appeared even more alive under the Nigerian moonlight, as though the threads themselves were whispering a story only the land could unlock. Despite the busyness of his work, Teo felt a deep connection to his surroundings. Nigeria was vast, sprawling with untamed energy and boundless possibilities, yet it carried the echoes of belonging. He realized he didn't need to rush to find his father, there was time for both his professional aspirations and his personal quest. 6 months passed in a whirlwind of activity. The apartment and shopping complex began to take shape, rising from the earth like a promise fulfilled. Every brick laid and every beam raised brought a sense of pride to Teo, as he marveled at how his designs were becoming a tangible part of the landscape. One morning, Teo was called into a meeting with the project's interior design team to discuss the next phase. As he entered the conference room, his eyes were drawn to one of the designers, a woman named Lola. She was strikingly tall, with a poised elegance and an easy confidence that immediately commanded attention. Lola's designs were as captivating as her presence, blending traditional Nigerian aesthetics with sleek, modern elements. Teo and Lola quickly developed a professional rapport. Her keen eye for detail complemented his architectural vision, and their collaboration elevated the project to new heights. Outside of work, Lola took it upon herself to introduce Teo to the treasures of Nigeria. She guided him through bustling markets, where the air was filled with the aroma of roasted plantains and jollof rice, and to serene beaches, where the waves sang ancient songs to the shore. She showed him historic landmarks and vibrant art districts, places he had never imagined. With each outing, Teo felt the threads of his identity weaving themselves together. Nigeria no longer felt like a foreign land, it was becoming home. Lola's laughter became the melody of his days, her passion for storytelling a mirror to his own. She told him tales of her ancestors and the spirits believed to guide them, and Tayo found himself sharing parts of his own story, bits and pieces of the father he never knew. Inevitably, Tayo found himself drawn to her in more than just admiration. Her warmth and brilliance stirred something within him, a feeling he couldn't deny. As they spent more time together, working late nights on the project or exploring the hidden gems of the city, Tayo realized he was falling in love with Lola. She had become the anchor he didn't know he needed, grounding him even as he pursued the mysteries of his roots. Back home, Zola finally made her decision. She gathered the letters and placed them into a box, tying it with a bright red ribbon. She decided not to send them immediately but to keep them ready for the moment she felt her son was prepared to receive them. Perhaps he would ask her one day, or perhaps she would find the courage to offer them on her own. Until then, the letters would wait, like seeds, ready to blossom when the time was right. A year had swept by like the ebb and flow of a gentle tide. The project that once stood as a blueprint and a dream was now nearing its completion, a sprawling apartment complex with a vibrant shopping center that promised to breathe new life into the community. Tayo had poured his heart into every detail, ensuring that the design honored both modern functionality and the cultural richness of the land. During this time, his bond with Lola had grown deeper. They had faced challenges together, celebrated milestones, and shared countless moments that wove their lives closer than ever. Tayo admired her creativity, her unwavering dedication, and her zest for life. Lola, in turn, found in Tayo a partner who appreciated her passion, respected her vision, and supported her dreams. As the final touches on the project began, Tayo found himself reflecting on the love he had come to share with Lola. Her presence in his life was like a light that illuminated the shadows of his past. He thought of his mother, Zola, and the love she had once known with his father, a love that had ended before it could blossom into something lasting. Tayo knew he didn't want history to repeat itself. He wanted to honor his mother's sacrifices, to build a life filled with the stability and commitment she had always deserved. One evening, Tayo sat in his apartment, staring at the bracelet that had been his guide since he arrived in Nigeria. The vibrant threads reminded him of his promise to follow his destiny, and he knew what he had to do. Taking a deep breath, he picked up the phone and dialed his parents back home. When Zola's voice greeted him on the other end, warm and familiar, Tayo felt a rush of emotions. "Mama," he began, "I need to share something important with you." Zola listened intently as Tayo spoke about Lola, the talented designer who had become his partner in both work and life. He described her kindness, her brilliance, and the love they had built together over the past year. As he talked, Zola felt a swell of pride for her son, who had grown into a man capable of love and commitment. "Mama, I don't want what happened to you and Papa to happen to us," Tayo continued. "I want to build a future with Lola, and I intend to propose to her. I wanted you and Papa to know before I take this step." On the other end of the line, Zola felt tears welling in her eyes. She could sense the sincerity in her son's voice, the determination to honor love and family. She knew this was not only a decision born of love but also a reflection of Tayo's growth and the strength of his character. "My son," Zola said, her voice soft yet steady, "your father and I made choices that shaped our lives, and I have no regrets because they brought me you. But you have the chance to write your own story. If Lola is the one who makes your heart whole, then you must follow it." With her blessing, and Kofi's warm encouragement when Tayo shared the news with him, Tayo felt a deep sense of peace. He knew he had their support as he prepared to take this significant step in his life. As Tayo hung up the phone, he glanced at the bracelet once more. It seemed to glow brighter than ever, as though the threads knew that his destiny was unfolding before him, one decision at a time. Under the soft glow of candlelight, Tayo meticulously planned the perfect evening for Lola. He reserved a private table at one of Lagos' finest restaurants overlooking the lagoon, where the city lights sparkled like stars upon the water. The air carried the faint scent of hibiscus flowers, and the distant sound of drums added a rhythm to the night, as though the land itself was celebrating his intentions. Tayo arrived early to ensure everything was perfect. A bouquet of red and yellow roses rested on the table, their colors representing love and friendship. He wore a crisp white shirt and dark trousers, his bracelet peeking from under his sleeve, a constant reminder of the thread that guided him. Lola arrived looking radiant, her emerald dress flowing effortlessly and her smile lighting up the room. They dined on an exquisite meal of seafood and local delicacies, sharing laughter and cherished memories of the past year. As the evening progressed, Tayo's heart began to race, but he steadied himself, knowing the moment was near. When dessert arrived, a small plate adorned with Lola's favorite fruit, Tayo reached into his pocket and pulled out a velvet box. He took her hand, his voice steady and full of emotion. "Lola," he began, "meeting you has been the greatest blessing of my life. You've not only helped me feel at home in a land I once barely knew, but you've shown me the beauty of love, partnership, and belonging." Opening the box, he revealed a gleaming ring, a delicate piece that sparkled like the night sky. "I want to spend my life with you, building not just projects, but a future that's as strong and beautiful as the love we share. Will you marry me?" Lola's eyes glistened as she smiled, her voice warm and kind. "Tayo, you've made me so happy tonight, but there's something important we need to do first." She placed her hand over his, her tone gentle but firm. "In Nigeria, it's tradition for a man to seek the blessing of the woman's parents before marriage. You must meet them and ask for their permission to marry me. This is how it's done here." She paused, her expression softening. "And since both your parents are overseas, you'll need to decide how they'll be involved. But before anything, we need my parents' blessing." Tayo nodded, understanding the importance of honoring her family's traditions. Yet as he returned to his apartment that night, his mind raced with thoughts. Lola's words had sparked an inner conflict that he couldn't ignore. He found himself staring at the bracelet once again, its vibrant colors seeming to pulse as if urging him forward. Should I find my father before meeting Lola's parents? Tayo thought. The idea weighed heavily on him. Could he truly face her family, ask for their blessing, and embark on this new chapter without first understanding the missing part of his own story? Or should he proceed with the path ahead, trusting that his father's shadow would fade with time? As the city of Lagos settled into its quiet slumber, Tayo paced his apartment, consumed by the swirling questions in his mind. The bracelet sat on the table, its vibrant threads illuminated by the dim light of a desk lamp. It was as if it, too, had been waiting patiently for him to untangle the threads of his story. Lola had no idea that his real father was somewhere in Nigeria, another layer of truth Tayo had yet to confront. Tayo reflected on everything his mother had told him about his father, a man she loved but had lost contact with, whose presence lingered in the stories of his childhood. He realized that while finding his father was a part of his personal quest, securing Lola's blessing and her family's approval was the first step toward building the future he longed for. The two journeys were intertwined, but he knew which path he had to take first. Resolute, Tayo decided to focus on earning Lola's parents' blessing while quietly continuing his search for his father. He couldn't allow the uncertainty of his past to hinder the love he had found in the present. The thread of his identity would eventually lead him to both closure and new beginnings, but he would take it one step at a time. The next morning, Tayo called Lola and expressed his wish to meet her parents. She responded warmly, arranging a dinner at her family's home. Lola's excitement reassured him, and as the day approached, Tayo prepared diligently, wanting to make a lasting impression. He learned as much as he could about Nigerian traditions and even asked Lola about the customs her family followed, hoping to honor them during their meeting. When the evening arrived, Tayo dressed carefully in traditional attire, a richly woven agbada that Lola had helped him select. It was his way of showing respect and embracing the culture that had now become a significant part of his life. Lola's family welcomed him warmly, their home filled with the aroma of spices and the chatter of siblings and cousins. Her father, Chief Adewale, was a man of quiet strength, his presence coming with respect. Her mother, Mama Taiwo, exuded warmth, her keen eyes studying Tayo with curiosity and approval. Throughout the evening Tayo shared his story, his journey as an architect, his upbringing with his mother and stepfather, and his admiration for Lola's talents and character. He spoke from the heart, letting his sincerity shine through. Tayo took a deep breath and addressed her parents directly. "Chief Adewale, Mama Taiwo," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion, "I've had the privilege of getting to know your daughter over the past year. She's not only talented and kind, but she's also taught me so much about love and partnership. I would like your blessing to ask for her hand in marriage." Chief Adewale leaned back in his chair, his expression contemplative. He exchanged a glance with Mama Taiwo, who smiled softly. "Marriage is not a decision we take lightly," Chief Adewale finally said. "It is a bond that goes beyond the two of you, it connects families, communities, and futures. But we see the sincerity in your heart, and it is clear that you honor our daughter." Mama Taiwo nodded. "You have our blessing, Tayo, but remember, marriage is a journey, not a destination. Cherish each other and grow together." Relief washed over Tayo as he thanked Lola's parents wholeheartedly for their blessing. In a display of respect and gratitude, he lowered himself to the ground, prostrating before Chief Adewale and Mama Taiwo in the traditional manner, a prone position with one arm stretched forward. It was a gesture that spoke volumes, honoring not only their blessing but the customs and values Lola had taught him. As Tayo rose, Chief Adewale's sharp eyes caught something unusual, a bracelet of woven strands, adorned with beads of red, green, blue, and gold. It stood out against the rich fabric of Tayo's agbada, glowing softly under the warm light of the room. Chief Adewale gestured toward the bracelet, curiosity flickering in his gaze. "That is quite an intriguing piece you have there," he said. "The colors seem meaningful. Tell me, Tayo, where did you get it?" Tayo hesitated for a moment, his hand instinctively brushing the bracelet. It felt heavier now, as though the threads were waiting for him to speak their truth. "It was given to me by my mother," Tayo began, his voice steady but reflective. "She told me it represents courage, growth, peace, and joy, each color a wish for my future." Chief Adewale nodded thoughtfully, but his gaze remained fixed on the bracelet. "Such symbols often carry more than what is seen on the surface," he said. "They carry stories, history, and connection. Do you know where the bracelet originally came from?" The question struck a chord within Tayo. He had always understood the bracelet as a gift from his mother, but he had never questioned its deeper origins. It had been a part of his life for as long as he could remember, a thread guiding him through uncertainty and growth. Yet now, Tayo standing before Chief Adewale, the weight of the unanswered questions about his father began to stir again. "I'm not entirely sure," Tayo admitted, his voice tinged with curiosity and unease. "But I feel it's tied to my roots, to my father, and to answers I have yet to find." Chief Adewale's eyes lingered on the bracelet as his mind raced with memories long buried. The woven strands, the vibrant beads, each color held a meaning, a promise. It was the same bracelet he had once given to a woman whose name echoed faintly in his thoughts. "This thread will always connect us," he had told her. But why was this young man wearing it? Chief Adewale felt his chest tighten as he studied Tayo, the way he spoke, the way he carried himself. His gestures, subtle, instinctive, reminded him of someone from his past. His heart pounded as realization began to seep into his mind, but before he could ask more, Mama Taiwo called out, interrupting his thoughts. "Food is ready, come to the table," she announced with warmth. Chief Adewale nodded absent-mindedly and joined the family, but his focus remained on Tayo. As the meal progressed, he found himself observing, searching for familiar traces, small expressions, the slight tilt of his head when he was deep in thought. It was there, scattered in fragments, pieces of a puzzle Adewale had never expected to face. His hands trembled slightly as he lifted his glass. Could he be my son? The possibility weighed on him like an anchor, pulling his mind away from the conversation at hand. Tayo, oblivious to the storm brewing in Chief Adewale's mind, continued engaging with Lola's family, answering their questions about his life and work. He spoke fondly of his mother, Zola, and the sacrifices she had made to raise him, unaware of the way Adewale stiffened at the mention of her name. Zola, Chief Adewale murmured under his breath, barely audible. Tayo turned to him with polite curiosity. "Did you say something, sir?" Chief Adewale cleared his throat, forcing a smile. "No, no, please, continue." But the floodgates had opened. Memories rushed back, the laughter, the dreams, the promises made under foreign skies. Zola. Could it be? Had fate woven their paths back together through the son she had raised? As dinner came to an end, Chief Adewale knew he had to find answers. The bracelet had returned to him, carried by a man who bore his name like a whisper from the past. He watched Tayo closely, knowing that before this night ended, the truth could no longer remain hidden. Returning to his apartment later that night, Tayo felt the bracelet's threads against his skin, their colors more vivid than he had ever noticed before. Chief Adewale's words lingered in Tayo's mind. He had come here seeking the blessing of Lola's parents, but he had also been given an unexpected nudge toward his quest for identity. Now, the path ahead seemed more intertwined than ever, the search for his father and the love he had found with Lola. The moment Tayo left the dinner, Chief Adewale found himself consumed by a whirlwind of thoughts. The bracelet, the resemblance, the gestures, it all pointed to something too coincidental to ignore. His heart weighed heavy with questions, and the ache of uncertainty began to seep into his days. Discreetly, Chief Adewale started to make inquiries. He reached out to old acquaintances and contacts, piecing together fragments of the past to uncover the truth behind Tayo's origins. Each conversation brought him closer to clarity, yet it also stirred deeper emotions. He recalled Zola, the woman he had once cared for, the promises they had shared, and the silence that had followed. Could it be that fate had brought their son into his life, unknowingly? As he awaited answers, Adewale became increasingly distracted. He spent hours staring out the window, lost in the labyrinth of his thoughts. Even his wife, Mama Taiwo, began to notice the change in him. One evening, she approached him as he sat by the veranda, his expression distant. "Are you all right, sweetheart?" Mama Taiwo asked, her voice filled with concern. "You've seemed out of sorts lately." "I'm okay, dear," Chief Adewale replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "It's nothing, just some things on my mind." But Mama Taiwo knew her husband well enough to sense that something deeper was troubling him. She decided to give him space, trusting that he would open up when the time was right. The following morning, Chief Adewale's phone rang, a call he had been waiting for with both anticipation and dread. As he answered, his heart raced, each beat hammering against the walls of his chest. "Chief, I have news," the voice on the other end said. There was a pause, as if the caller understood the gravity of what they were about to reveal. "That boy Tayo, he is your son. He is Zola's son, but she is now married to a man called Kofi." Chief Adewale felt his breath catch in his throat. The words echoed in his mind, each one settling like a weight upon his heart. "He really is my son." The name Kofi made sense now, explaining the puzzle he hadn't been able to piece together during dinner. Zola had remarried, but the thread of their past had remained alive through the bracelet she had given their child. Chief Adewale sat in silence, the enormity of the revelation sinking in. His son, the boy he had unknowingly shared a meal with, was about to marry his daughter. The realization sent a shiver through him, and he felt his world tilt on its axis. "What should I do next?" he thought. His mind raced with possibilities and consequences. Would stopping the marriage honor his responsibilities as a father? Or would it disrupt the happiness Lola and Tayo had built together? Conflicted, Chief Adewale found himself thinking about the bracelet, its colors vibrant and unyielding. It had led Tayo here, to this moment, as if fate itself had orchestrated their reunion. But the path forward remained unclear. Do you think he should stop his daughter from marrying Tayo? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching Granny G Stories. For part 2 subscribe to the channel, so you don't miss out.